At the heart of Spencer Publications, where empires rise and fall on whispered secrets and power games, a storm was brewing that no one saw coming. The trap had been set, precise, surgical, and brutal in its simplicity. A kiss. Just one kiss. But it wasn't about passion or longing. It was bait, pure and calculated. Luna knew the stakes. She knew what it would cost. But what she didn't expect, what no one expected, was that the man she was trying to bring down would turn the game on its head. The conference room, usually a cold monument to corporate ego with its glass walls and towering view of Los Angeles, had become a stage. While Spencer sat at the end of the long polished table, flanked by screens still flickering with stock updates and marketing projections. He looked calm, too calm. His signature smirk played across his face like he already knew the ending of a movie everyone else was still watching. Luna stepped in, the heels of her boots silent on the floor, her posture rigid with purpose. This wasn't about business. This wasn't even about revenge anymore. This was survival. She leaned in closer than she'd ever dared. The air between them was thick, and as their lips touched, the signal was supposed to be clear. The tiny lens embedded in the room's ceiling blinked on, capturing every second of the kiss in crystal HD. It was supposed to expose him. Catch Will in an intimate act that would shred his alliances and finally unravel the web he'd spent years weaving. But when her fingers brushed against the fabric of his suit, she felt it. A cold, hard shape tucked beneath his lapel. Her eyes widened. That wasn't part of the plan. Her fingers tightened, yanked, and pulled the object free. A miniature audio recorder. Armed and active. He'd known. He'd always known. "You bastard," she hissed, stepping back. Will just raised an eyebrow. "You really thought you were the only one setting traps," he said, voice calm as silk. "Welcome to my world." Panic snapped inside her like a whip. This wasn't just about the kiss anymore. If he had audio, if he had everything she'd said, everything she'd confessed leading up to this moment, it was over. Not just for her, but for everyone who had bet on her. Her family, her allies. Everyone who wanted Spencer power fractured. Her hand darted into her coat, fingers closing around the cold steel grip of the pistol she never wanted to use, but always carried. In an instant, the balance of power shifted. "Delete it," she ordered, leveling the gun squarely at his chest. Her voice cracked not with fear, but fury. Now, for the first time, Will looked rattled. His eyes flicked toward the door, calculating. But they both knew there was no time. No room for games. He slowly reached for the device, but Luna didn't flinch. Her finger hovered near the trigger. No sudden moves. No clever lines. "Just wipe the damn thing." "Think this through," he said carefully, his hands hovering. "You fire that gun, it's over for both of us. Cameras in this building don't sleep. Neither do your lies." A knock hit the door, then another. Raised voices. Someone must have seen the gun. Someone must have triggered security. But Luna didn't dare glance away. Will's fingers moved too fast. Luna's reflexes screamed, and the next second cracked with thunder. Gunfire. The glass wall behind Will shattered, splinters of safety glass exploding across the conference room. A bullet slammed into the conference table, sending chips of wood flying. Will dove sideways. Luna dropped behind a chair as alarms wailed through the building. A second shot rang out from Will's security detail, storming through the hallway. Shouting. Chaos. Screams. Someone returned fire. A guard dropped to the floor with a grunt of pain. Blood smeared the white marble tile. Luna scrambled across the floor, pistol still clutched in her hand, desperate to reach the recorders still lying on the table. "Get that file," she screamed, even as another bullet struck the edge of the table, narrowly missing her head. Will was behind the couch now, yelling into a calm lockdown. Level 1. Secure the server room. The glass doors burst open as 2 more guards surged in. Luna fired again. Warning shots. She wasn't trying to kill anyone. She just needed time. Time to erase the evidence. But this wasn't just a corporate showdown anymore. It was a war zone. And somewhere in the chaos, someone hit the panic button that triggered full building lockdown. All elevators froze. All exits sealed. No one in. No one out. Trapped. Give it up. Will's voice rang out. You're not walking out of here with anything. You're not walking out at all. Luna's face twisted. Then we both go down. Another shot. A guard lunged. She fired again, but her grip was slipping, her hands trembling. Adrenaline had kept her upright, but her mind was screaming. And then it happened. The recorder was in reach. She grabbed it, flipped the switch, found the tiny screen. Options, play, save, delete. Her thumb hovered. Don't, Will warned. You don't know what's on there. She hit delete. A second passed. Confirmation blinked on screen. All files erased. Then silence. The gun lowered. Her heart thundered like it was trying to crack her chest from the inside. Will stood slowly, his expression blank, unreadable. Smoke hung in the air. Glass crunched underfoot. One of the guards groaned, clutching his leg. The others stood at the ready, waiting for a command. Call an ambulance, Will said quietly. And get her out of my sight. But Luna wasn't done. You think this ends with a file? She spat. You think erasing that means I stop? You don't understand. I'm not afraid of you anymore. He stepped forward, brushing dust from his jacket, eyes locked on hers. Then you're even more dangerous than I thought, he said. And I like that. Security seized her arms. She didn't struggle. She didn't need to. She'd won. Maybe not the war, not yet, but this battle was hers. Will had underestimated her. And now the entire Spencer dynasty stood on the brink of collapse. A gunfight in their headquarters. A scandal no press team could bury. Will might still be standing, but the world would never look at him the same way again. And Luna? She had tasted power. Not through blackmail, not through secrets, but through action. Through fire. And she knew one thing as they dragged her out through the shattered remains of the conference room. She would be back. And next time, she wouldn't miss. The aftermath was immediate and devastating. Within hours, news helicopters circled above Spencer Publications like vultures over a fresh corpse. Media vans parked along the boulevard, their satellite dishes aimed skyward, pumping out real-time updates on what reporters were already calling the Spencer shootout. The footage was everywhere, shattered glass, armed guards, blood on marble floors. Word spread like wildfire. Rumors exploded across social media. Was Will Spencer shot? Was it an assassination attempt? Was Spencer Publications under siege? Inside the tower, Will sat alone in his office, untouched but far from unscathed. His hand trembled as he poured himself a scotch, the ice clinking too loud in the silence. The press would spin this. They always did. But this wasn't just about optics anymore. The very bones of Spencer power had just cracked. A gunfight inside the executive boardroom? With a woman who clearly knew too much? Who acted like she had nothing left to lose? Security had Luna in custody, but holding her wasn't the same as containing her. She wasn't afraid. She hadn't begged. She hadn't blinked. She had deleted the recording while bullets flew. That kind of resolve didn't come from ambition. It came from a wound. Will knew it because he'd used it himself for years. Now someone else was throwing it back at him. But Luna's arrest didn't bring peace. It brought questions. The board of Spencer Publications convened a private emergency meeting within 24 hours. Not out of concern for Will's safety, but for the stock. Investors were spooked. CEOs didn't just get attacked in skyscrapers and expect business as usual. Rumors churned beneath the surface, whispers about corruption, about espionage, about an internal coup. Several board members were already talking about freezing Will's authority until a full internal investigation could be completed. Will's cousin, Liam, flew in from Paris. He was no friend of Will's, not anymore, not after years of betrayal, manipulation, and control. But Liam wasn't here for vengeance. He was here because the family name was at stake. The Spencer name. "You need to come clean," Liam said, standing over Will's desk like he owned it. What the hell is going on? Why was she armed? Why was there a recording in the first place? Will looked up, face pale and eyes hollow. Because she was setting me up. And I set her up first. That doesn't answer anything. What was on that recording? Will didn't respond. Instead, he opened a drawer and tossed Liam a file. Confidential reports, surveillance photos, timestamps. It was all there. Luna hadn't been acting alone. There was a network. A chain. Someone had funded her, coached her, given her access. Someone inside Spencer. "She's just the face," Will said. The bullet was hers. But the trigger belongs to someone else. Liam scanned the documents and his face went still. "You think this came from inside the family?" Will didn't blink. "I know it did." Meanwhile, in a concrete holding cell deep beneath the LA Federal Building, Luna sat alone, no handcuffs, no bruises, no fear. Just silence and control. She had already refused legal counsel. She didn't want a lawyer. She wanted leverage. When the door finally creaked open, it wasn't a lawyer or detective. It was Steffi Forrester. Of all people, Luna hadn't expected her. But Steffi had seen the headlines, read between the lines, and followed the trail. She didn't believe in coincidences. And she knew Will Spencer's enemies weren't born, they were made. "You had a gun to his chest," Steffi said. "You could have ended him. But you didn't." "I didn't need to," Luna said calmly. "He ended himself the moment he underestimated me." Steffi studied her. "You're not stupid. You wouldn't do this unless you had backup." "Who's protecting you?" Luna smiled faintly. "No one." "Liar." Silence. Then Luna leaned forward. "Let me out, and I'll give you every name on the list. Every insider who's been feeding Spencer intel. People in your own company. People in mine." Steffi's face changed. This wasn't just revenge. This was a war. One already underway. Back at Spencer Publications, the situation worsened. A leak hit the press, a leaked financial report showing Will had siphoned funds through offshore accounts connected to shell corporations. The evidence was thin, speculative, but the implication was enough. The board demanded his resignation. But Will wasn't going quietly. "If I go down, I take every one of you with me," he barked in the emergency board meeting. "Don't forget who kept this company on top while you all cashed your dividends and kept your hands clean." But the tide had turned. And it wasn't just the board anymore. Brooke Logan, Ridge Forrester, even Katie, Will's ex-wife, were now circling like sharks, sensing the blood. Katie refused to let Will's reckless empire collapse without a fight. For the sake of their son, for the company, for whatever legacy might still be salvageable. And in the shadows, a new player emerged. Zane Harper. A quiet name. Never on record. Never photographed. But the kind of man who made things happen. He had backed Luna's mission from the start, funded the infiltration, arranged the tech, manipulated the media. Now he was ready to step into the light. With Luna's arrest, he lost a soldier, but the war was just beginning. Zane contacted Liam and Steffi with a message. Will Spencer had a target on his back, and Zane was holding the rifle. But it didn't have to be like this. A deal could be made. If Liam and Steffi helped bring down Will quietly, If they worked with Zane instead of against him, he would guarantee them control of Spencer Publications and peace in the media war. But Liam didn't trust him. Steffi didn't either. Still, they both understood something vital. If they didn't control the collapse, someone else would. 3 days later, Luna walked free. No charges. No press statement. Just a headline that said, "Key witness cooperates with investigation." The truth was never released. Not officially. But everyone knew something dark had cracked open at Spencer Publications. And Luna? She vanished. No press, no photos, no sightings. Until 1 month later, a new company launched in the heart of Silicon Beach. Independent. Tech-driven. Fiercely disruptive. Origin 8 Media. CEO, Luna. Backed by quiet funding. Staffed by former Spencer insiders. Designed from the ground up to challenge everything Spencer once stood for. And well, he was still standing. But barely. Spencer's stock was down. Trust was shattered. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't sure if he was the predator or the prey. Because Luna hadn't fired the fatal shot. She had let him pull the trigger on himself. And now, she was just getting started.